Hey everybody, it's Fabs here with Sports Illustrated Fantasy, and congratulations. If you're watching this video, you probably made it to your fantasy football championship, and we're going to help you take home the gold. Let's bring in Jen Piacenti, of course, from SI Fantasy and Betting. And Jen, we don't have a lot of great options on the waiver wire heading into week 17, but there are a few players who can help, including a quarterback in San Francisco who's been Purdy good. I'm sorry, I had to do it.
I mean, I wish I could stop you, but I know that I can't. So yes, Brock Purdy. He's now thrown for 2 touchdowns in each of his last 4 games, and he's finished as a QB 14 or better in 3 of those. And of course, this week he gets Las Vegas, who've allowed the 8th most points to fantasy quarterbacks. Also, Mike White is going to be starting again. He's matching up with Seattle. A few other guys there too. Mac Jones has a good matchup. If you want to be crazy, you could even consider Russell Wilson. Teams do really well after they fire their head coach, and we saw him light up the Chiefs a few weeks ago, but that is a very risky play. And I want to say before we continue this video, for the most part, yeah, we're giving you waiver wire picks, but you're going to stick with the guys you have. So don't do anything crazy. You probably want to stick with the guys that got you here.
And if Gardner Minshew gets the start for the Eagles, he was very good last week against our beloved Dallas Cowboys. Moving on to the running back position, I was shocked that Tyler Algier was available in more than 50% of Yahoo leagues. He is the guy in Atlanta's backfield, and he's got a great matchup this week.
I was too. When I looked it up, I was like, wow, more than 50% available. Okay, this is a guy that could be used this week. He had 18 carries for 74 yards on Sunday, and he also caught 4 passes for another 43. Now, he's not just the passing back anymore. He's playing on early downs and in short yardage situations. The Cardinals have allowed a 32.3 PPR points per game across the last 3 to opposing running backs. So I like Algier if he's available. Zach Moss, Chuba Hubbard, and James Cook are other guys you may consider.
Moving on to the wide receiver position, Green Bay's got a really good matchup against Minnesota. Christian Watson's a bit banged up. So Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo? Oh, that's right, he's on the waiver wire.
That's right, he is on the waiver wire. He's available in about 80% of leagues. We saw Christian Watson leave the game on Sunday at the half, and after that, Dobbs, how are we saying it, Dobbs or Dobbs? Because I want to say Dobbs because he gets us the win. Romeo Dobbs played 15 of 17 passing plays. Now we know that he and Aaron Rodgers had good chemistry before he left with his injury for those few weeks in the middle of the season. So we're thinking with this Vikings matchup that has been so generous to wide receivers, Romeo Dobbs and or Dobbs is the guy you may want to put your claim in for.
Some other wide receivers out there, DJ Chark, good matchup this week. Jahan Dotson's a touchdown in 3 straight games, and then Greg Dortch for the Cardinals. Finally, tight ends. It's certainly thin out there going into championship week, but there is one player who could be a free agent who has a great matchup that might help you.
An absolutely phenomenal matchup with Seattle, who's allowed the 2nd most fantasy points to opposing tight ends, and it's Tyler Conklin. Conklin's run 387 routes this year. That's 5th at the position. He's seen 77 targets. That's 7th at the position. And he's played the 3rd most snaps, only behind Evan Ingram and TJ Hockenson. And as we mentioned, Mike White is back, baby. It's a good matchup, and we think Tyler Conklin is the guy to stream. You can also consider Robert Tonyan, who has a nice matchup this week as well.
Taysom Hill could also be in that mix too. So that's it for waiver wire ads for week 17. Thanks as always, Jen. And again, congratulations on getting your fantasy football playoffs. And I will tell you this, in championship week, you can drop players that you otherwise would not drop to add defenses and other positions to block your opponent. It's only you and one other team. Keep that in mind. So if you have a quarterback, say like Geno Smith with a bad matchup, your opponent has a good quarterback already, you can cut Geno if you're not going to play him because he's not going to be picked up by any other team. Keep that in mind. All is fair in love and fantasy football championships. So with that, make sure you're checking out SI Fantasy for all of your fantasy football championship week coverage. And of course, hit that subscribe button for Sports Illustrated YouTube. We've got starts, sits, waiver wire, and everything you need to take home the ship.